A rematch? Unlikely, they said. Repeating? Almost impossible. And yet, here we were. After a beast of a 2025 NHL postseason, the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, beaten up but still standing, went at it again for the Stanley Cup. But this wasn't just round two, it was a whole new level. One team carved their name into hockey history, while the other was left thinking, what if, after a final that truly tested everyone involved. Man, what a ride the 2025 NHL playoffs were. From that first puck drop on April 19th, this postseason gave us everything we hoped for. Insane skill, those jaw-dropping upsets, and drama that had us on the edge of our seats. Exactly why we live for this game, right? We saw the big guns tested, underdogs claw their way up, and new legends born. So, we're going to break it all down, from the wild first round all the way to someone lifting that beautiful cup. And then we're going deep on that epic Stanley Cup final rematch, Panthers and Oilers. A series that had it all, literally down to the last gasp. So, the 2025 NHL playoffs got rolling, and the league's best were ready to throw down. You had the Winnipeg Jets, President's Trophy winners after crushing the regular season as the top seed overall. Over in the East, the Washington Capitals locked up the #1 spot, so yeah, expectations were sky high. The first round? Classic chaos and surprises, just like always. One of the big early showdowns had the Toronto Maple Leafs, with Mitch Marner absolutely flying after a 27-goal, 73-assist regular season, battling their rivals, the Ottawa Senators, who were counting on Tim Stützle and his 23 goals and 53 assists. The Leafs found a way through that nail-biter, taking it in 6 tough games. And how about the Sunshine State rivalry? Another chapter there, with the Tampa Bay Lightning squaring off against the Florida Panthers. The Cats, remember, were the defending champs, and they came out snarling, wrapping that series up in 5. Definitely sent a message. They were serious about another long run. The first round was just packed with moments we won't forget. Plenty of Game 7 drama, and you saw teams like the Dallas Stars and Winnipeg Jets pull off some huge comebacks to move on. And get this, kind of fitting, right? The only 2 underdogs to make it out of the first round were the Oilers and the Panthers, last year's finalists. 12 overtime games in that first round alone? Yeah, that set the tone for what was coming. As teams got knocked out, things just got more intense. Getting through that second round and into the conference finals, it was all about who could dig deep and play smart. The Florida Panthers just kept steamrolling through the East. First, they took care of the Toronto Maple Leafs in a brutal 7-gamer, even after being down 0-2 to start. Then, in the Eastern Conference Final, they ran into the Carolina Hurricanes, a team they've handled pretty well in recent playoffs. Florida just didn't let up, poured on the goals early against Carolina, and won that series in 5. Boom, 3rd straight trip to the Stanley Cup Final. And their play on the road? Seriously impressive, tying a franchise record for road wins in a single playoff. Meanwhile, out west, the Edmonton Oilers were on an absolute tear. Their first-round series against the LA Kings didn't start pretty. They went down 0-2. But then, Connor McDavid and the Oilers just flipped a switch, winning 12 of their next 14 to punch their ticket to the final. They knocked out the Kings in 6, then the Vegas Golden Knights in 5, and then got past the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Final, also in 5. Their offense? Just electric, averaging over 4 goals a game during that incredible run. And just like that, the stage was set. Could you believe it? For the second year in a row, it was the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers for the Stanley Cup. A rematch absolutely packed with storylines, history, and crazy pressure. You could almost hear the echoes from last year's 7-game epic. Remember Matthew Tkachuk in the 2024 handshake line telling Connor McDavid, "Hopefully we'll see you next year"? Well, it happened. So now, let's really get into this monster Stanley Cup final, a series that was next-level epic. This wasn't just a simple rematch. This was Chapter 2 of a fierce rivalry. And get this, it was only the second Stanley Cup final rematch in 40 years. Big difference from last year? Edmonton had home ice advantage this go-around. Game 1, June 4th in Edmonton. The Oilers drew first blood, grabbing a nail-biting 4-3 OT win that sent their home crowd wild. But the Panthers? You know they're resilient. They fought right back in Game 2 on June 6th. It was an absolute marathon, but Florida tied things up with a 5-4 double overtime victory. Rogers Place? Dead silent. The series shifted to Florida, and the Panthers grabbed all the momentum. Game 3 was pure dominance by the home team. They absolutely hammered the Oilers 6-1. Looked like Florida had figured out how to shut down that scary Edmonton offense. But hold on. The Oilers, with their backs completely against the wall, showed what champions are made of in Game 4, June 12th. In a crazy turn of events, Edmonton pulled off a wild comeback from 3 goals down, winning it 5-4 in OT. Leon Draisaitl, the hero. He capped off a 3-point night with that overtime winner, and just like that, we were all tied up at 2-2 Game 5, back in Edmonton, June 14th. This was huge. The Florida Panthers played maybe their best game of the whole series, winning big, 5-2. And how about 37-year-old Brad Marchand? What a stud, potting 2 absolute beauties for goals. His performance was just legendary. He joined Mario Lemieux as one of the only guys in the modern NHL to score 5 or more in 2 different Stanley Cup finals. The Panthers' D was relentless, pretty much shutting down McDavid, and Bobrovsky was a rock when they needed him. So, Florida heads back home up 3-2, just 1 win from the Cup. Heading into Game 6 in Sunrise, Florida, you could cut the tension with a knife. Oilers facing elimination, do or die, plain and simple. Panthers had a shot to win their 2nd straight Stanley Cup, on their own ice. And showing true championship heart, the Florida Panthers got it done. They put on a clinic, beating the Oilers 5-1 to go back-to-back. Sam Reinhart? Unbelievable in the decider. He scored an insane 4 goals, tying the record for most in a Stanley Cup final game, and get this, only the 2nd player ever to score 4 in the game that clinches the Cup. His monster night also marked the first 4-goal game and hat trick in Panthers playoff history. And that Panthers defense? Lights out again, completely shutting down the Oilers' big guns. When that final horn went off in Game 6 at Amarant Bank Arena, the place just erupted. The Florida Panthers, with that relentless forecheck, their rock-solid D, Bobrovsky being Bobrovsky in net and clutch goals, they'd done it again. The NHL's first repeat champs since the Tampa Bay Lightning back in 2020 and 2021, it was just a masterful way to finish the series, a 4-2 win that stamped their ticket as a modern-day dynasty. For the Oilers, another gut-wrenching end after battling so hard through the playoffs and the final. Bottom line? The Panthers' knack for controlling the game and silencing Edmonton's superstars when it mattered most was the difference maker. And Sam Bennett, your Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP, leading everybody with 15 goals in 23 playoff games. What a performance. So, the 2025 NHL playoffs delivered everything we wanted and then some. Amazing skill, drama that was off the charts, and a Stanley Cup final we'll be telling stories about for ages. The Florida Panthers showed their true champion quality, going back-to-back in style, all built on relentless hard work and serious depth. Seriously, what a season, what a playoff, and what a final. So, what were your favorite moments from these playoffs? Who was your unsung hero? Drop them in the comments below, I want to hear them. And hey, if you dug this deep dive, do me a solid. Smash that like button, subscribe for more hockey talk, and definitely ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for hanging out.